So I just watched Don't Say a Word with what's his name? Douglas something. Oh, I know her name is Brittany. No. Dang. Hold on. I know who they are. Good actors in this movie. So I should actually say their name. Don't say a word. I've seen it several times and I enjoy it. Michael Douglas, Brittany Murphy. I don't know who Sean Bean is, but Fan Key, I've seen her before. Yeah, so like a lot of good people in this movie. I enjoy it. Again, this is one of those movies where I'm not gonna talk about it a ton, but I do want to just say it's very like a thriller. It's suspenseful, like it kind of keeps you guessing, and it's one of those things that I've watched several times, so I know how it's gonna end, and it goes well. So that's why I like it. But um, yeah, it's got this good backstory, so it's not just like you know a bad guy trying to get someone, but like, so there's a man who they're, he's got a daughter, and he's trying to basically steal a jewel out of a safe with a crew of guys, right? So they're doing this mission, and so they're trying to get away. And it turns out the guy like has the jewel and a car behind the other getaway car. um it blows up, so they're in two cars, but then the guy like the one of the cars blows up and the other guy has the so he thinks so he looking back, he's like, oh my goodness, this guy just blew up and he has the jewel. No, it was like a getaway car. It was like a little diversion, right? So the guy could get the jewel and take it for himself, and leave those other people that he was in a crew with, trying to steal with. And so they have to go after him, of course, because it's like, I think the jewel is like worth like, in the movie it says like $10 million, right? So, and then you know I don't want to tell too much, but there's like a whole story about like how you know the guy goes to prison, and it's like a whole thing, and that's because you know he goes after the guy who takes the jewel, right? And so he basically kills him, and then he goes to prison for 10 years, and then he gets out of prison, and that's when he's trying to, he's like, somehow he understands that like the jewel is still out in the world, and he's trying to find it, right? That's really the premise of the story, right? That's the underneath. Then it jumps forward to he has this little girl that he's with, Brittany Murphy, but when she was a little girl, and then she grows up and she's in this hospital, and the guy is out of prison, and he's trying to understand where the jewel is, because now it's worth a lot of money. He wants it. That's what he's been working on, figuring out for the whole time that he's been in the prison, trying to figure it out. So that's what he's going to get this. He knows that this, the character who was a little girl who now is an adult is in institution, right? She's locked away, and because she knows that she has something that they want, right? But she's trying to keep herself safe, so that they can't come and hurt her, or try to uh extracts this message, or this number, it really is, that they're trying to get from her. So Michael Douglas gets called in to help, because he's really the only one. This is the part where it's really interesting to me, because he's a psychologist, or he's a psychiatrist actually. And yeah, administer drugs. But he, like, he's called in to actually get some work with this young girl because he figures out quickly because he's really smart. That's what I'm really interested in. It's like, oh my goodness, he's this really great doctor. He really understands psychological disorders and issues that are going on. That's the part that's interesting to me. And so he's like, right away, like in like a couple times of talking with her, maybe one time after talking with her, he looks through the files and he's like, oh, I see what's going on with her. You know what I mean? Like, she has PTSD, and everything else after that was probably just her trying to keep herself safe. That's kind of what he figures out. So he's basically, so you figure out like he's the only one who actually can work with this woman, and he does help her in a way where he just kind of tells her the truth, which that is so fascinating to me, that he just shares his truth, because what's happened now is like the people who are, the guy who's out of prison and trying to get this jewel, he has gotten, the doctor's daughter, and keeping her hostage until he can get the jewel this from this patient, the girl. And so like she's the only one that like can help her, apparently, right? And they all know this, right? So they've obviously done all this research. They have found, they have done a lot of research. I mean, it's clear that this man is very, he's very, he's adamant to find this jewel, right? And he goes through all these lengths. Like, I mean, this is all this is criminal shit that he's doing at this point, right? Like kid napping, and they killed another person in another home where they were surveilling, another space and stuff like that. So they did all these things to get this jewel because he's been wanting this for 10 years, waiting for this. And so yeah, it's like it's a lot of energy, you can tell from him. So he's willing to do what he's got to do, but also he's trying to make all the rules and make sure that like the doctor is doing what he wants him to do and stuff like that. But it's interesting because there's a flip where the doctor's like, actually, you actually can't do this without me. Like, they need each other, right? Like, he's got his daughter, right? He's keeping his daughter kidnapped in another space. And the guy who's a criminal is like, really needs to get this information from the girl. She's the only one who has it, right? And so like it's just kind of a little interesting kind of dynamic that happens. And so I enjoy it in that way. I like the way that they talk about mental disorders and things like that, and just how they kind of I always like those kinds of things, and maybe people think that's weird, but I like when those kinds of realities that do exist in our society, in our world, when you see a picture of a mental disorder or symptoms being expressed by someone, because I feel like we lock away a lot of people who are, we see them as mentally ill. Sometimes it's just disability, like they have different disabilities, and we lock them away and different things like that. And so and there's a lot of people in those situations, and so I feel like, and of course, obviously this is a feature movie, and it's not like a documentary where there's like doing a real expose on these kind of cases, but I feel like they acted, Brittany Murphy, she acted that role pretty well. I thought, and RIP to her, for real, because she obviously was a great actress. So yeah, so this was interesting, and like I really like this movie. Like I said, I like a lot of the different characters, and there's a lot of different levels to it. And the more I watch it, the more I like it, actually. And so, spoiler alert, things work out. The young woman is safe, and now she's also, real thing is that she's had this really powerful experience with the doctor where she's gone through her trauma. I think again, this is what I'm interested in, is like she had to go through the thing that made her get the PTSD, and she had to have that experience of going through that again and seeing it again and feeling it in her body again, and now she can release it, because that happens. It's just it's strapped in the body, when we experience something that's really, really horrible and it's too much on our system. And so that, for me, that's like the thing, right? Is like she had this really amazing experience, and she's able to like unleash and like not probably really have healing, right? Like that. I mean, in the story, when you think about the story, it's like, yeah, now she can actually have healing. She can get, walk, she can work with him if she wants, or get a different therapist. And also the bad guys who are coming after her, which is the reason why she was really trying to keep herself safe in these institutions, like, they're gone, right? He gets buried alive. I feel like that's not, maybe I'm not, maybe that is the spoiler. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like, it's a good story in that way. And yeah, so I love psychological movies. I love, you know, I just, they're so good. It makes me think maybe I should just talk about these movies a little bit more, because there are a lot that I really enjoy, and they kind of like, they make my head spin a little bit, but I'm like, ooh, I like this. You know what I mean? I don't know. It probably says something about me. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so let me know how you like this review. I love this movie. Again, I really enjoy it. It's like a movie from 2021, or yeah, 2001. Yeah, American psychological thriller. That is how it's correct. That is the level that it's at. So yeah, really good. Let me know how you like it, what you think about it. And please go ahead and share, like, and subscribe to this YouTube. And take good care. Bye.